Satnam, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gobind. This is your channel for grace. Thank you guys so much for being here live, and thank you to those of you that are watching the replay. Here we go. This is very, very intense. On this very, very intense day of the sun at 29 degrees of Leo on Regulus, the star at the heart of the lion, we're going to talk about the new moon that's going to happen at 0 degrees of Virgo, literally tomorrow into Saturday, 22nd and 23rd, depending on where you are in the world. I have been laughing my head off ever since I kind of started thinking about this, new moon and, what I'm going to talk about and things like that, because I'm like, this is crazy. So precision is a word that's been coming up a lot lately. Soul surgery is another thing that's been coming up lately. Just these phrases, these words that are just like showing up in my life. And I kid you not, and then there's a square to Uranus from the sun happening on Sunday, which is included in this energy. So it's like kind of wild, unpredictable things. And my whole schedule kind of totally changed for September. Literally, Virgo season said, nope, you're going to Los Angeles. And this is where you're going to be. And so then because of that, there was this pressure to really organize the house, because we're going to be, while I'm gone, my husband's going to be foaming, putting insulation, basically foam insulation in the ceiling. And so can't really do anything while that's going on. You can't really be in the house. You can't really sleep in the house, all that stuff. It's got to be empty till the fumes like escape and stuff like that. And so I have basically been organizing shit like a spring cleaning kind of a thing. Like, I kid you not, the detail of the type of cleaning that I'm having to do right now is insane. I'm looking around my office, like everything is in totes. Everything has been like sorted and put away exactly where it goes. I can see everything. I can find everything. It's like, and I'm coming into the office like, oh yeah, we're going to talk about the moon in Virgo. And I'm like, that's fucking funny. That's funny, universe. I'm like, Virgo season's fucking hitting the ground running before it even started for me. So I don't know what it's been like for you, but I was really laughing about that earlier. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys to talk about all this. And we'll look at the chart, the astrology. We'll look at the human design. There is quite a bit to talk about. A lot of intensity going on with this specific new moon. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to everyone that's here watching. Welcome. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll get notified when I go live, when I upload videos. Give the videos that you like a thumbs up, so that the YouTube algorithm suggests it to other people that might be interested in this content. And that's kind of how it spreads. It's when you give the videos a thumbs up. So I know we always forget to do that, but if you can from now on, just always remember to give the video a thumbs up, then that's really going to help a lot. So we have some really fun things that are happening this Virgo season that's starting tomorrow. And one of them is Ashley and I, who I believe is here in the chat. Hello, Ashley. We're going to be hosting a mini course. And this mini course will begin on September 2nd. It's going to be 4 Tuesday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to, for 4 weeks, talk about what we call this sacred, the map of our sacred coordinates. And essentially it entails like understanding the path, that there is a path that I feel like would be like, if we were to focus on like healing and really integrating the teachings of like the astrology, the gene keys, the human design, this would be the ideal path that I would recommend you take to really integrate everything. And so essentially what we're going to talk about is, in the first week, we're going to talk about like the blueprint and what is so significant about knowing and understanding your own unique blueprint, which is basically your gene keys, your human design, your astrology, like the starseed markings in your chart, everything that makes up your specific map. is the first step, right? To understand those things. But then you're like, okay, where do I take it from there? Because a lot of these things are very heady. Like, we're in our head, it's intellectual. We got to think about it. And yes, I love the archetypes, and, we experience things through emotions in daily life, but sometimes it's challenging to know exactly, like, how do I apply these things in life? Like, it can feel like there's a separation. And so what we're going to talk about is literally that. In the second week would be the integration part. So, like, how do you bring it into life? What are some, things that you can do to help you, especially when things like shadows come up, right? Like, when you get triggered, like we don't really know what to do, we're just like, oh shit, it happened again, And some of us don't have the money to freaking go see a freaking therapist every time we have an issue, and most therapists nowadays, at least like the professionally trained ones, don't necessarily know even what astrology is, and that we have these blueprints, right? So, like, what if we could kind of start to put it together and have specific tools to help us actually integrate all of this? And then Ashley and I are going to share, like, our story of how our lives changed the minute that we began to integrate and actually use this information and, like, bring it into our lives, like, anchor it into our lives and work through it, especially in the times where things get challenging and difficult. Those are the moments where the deepest work and healing can happen. And then at the end, we're actually going to share with you these 10 specific steps that we came up with that we feel would be the perfect, sort of the ideal format for working with all of these things. And so we'll share all of this in our free 4-week mini course. And we will have a very awesome and special announcement to make once we're completed with the course, but the course is free. So you can sign up by clicking the link in the description of this video. If you're not on Mighty Networks or our network, Channel for Grace, and the global community, you'll have to create an account and a password. If you're already in our community, all you have to do is make sure you log in with your already existing login and password. And then it'll open up access for you to enter into the course. There's an approval process, and then there's like 3 questions that I want you to answer, which are basically what's challenging you the most right now, where are you most aligned right now in life, and what do you feel is missing in your life. And then you'll have to answer those questions and submit it, and then I approve everybody, but I'm just really curious to know the answers to those questions because they actually apply to what we're going to talk about in the course. So we're very, very excited. Please check that out. Also, I'll make another announcement, and I'll make it tomorrow as well. I do have a new offering coming up, and this is something that I have been, along with Ashley, who's been helping me in the Moon Goddess Training Level 2, we've been doing these sessions where we go into a soul retrieval journey. And you guys know I've been trained with the QHHT and the past life regression, things like that. So I have a lot of training in like this, hypnosis and like also like gentle hypnosis. And so I would consider this like a gentle hypnosis, but a very powerful guided journey to literally time travel back to the moments in your childhood when you faced the issue, like the core issue, when the experience that started the trigger like happened, and actually restructure. Like, I just got this vision of like sacred geometry, but like going basically into the 6th dimension and like restructuring the geometry of the experience and fixing it, basically changing it, transforming it so that in the present it's like it's no longer an issue. And it's a quantum thing, right? It's quantum healing, and it takes like deep trust and truly like the belief that, you can do this. You can go back in time. You can time travel and clear the energy. And that's what soul retrieval is, because when we have these experiences in childhood that are traumatic, which we all have, even the Venus sequence literally goes through the map of your wounding. When we have those experiences, they are a piece of us gets left behind in the past. And that's why it's like, it feels like we're lost. That's why we feel lost literally in life, because it's like we're not whole. There's like these fragments energetically, right? I mean, it's not like you can tear a piece off of your soul, but it's emotional fragments, and emotions are the ones that carry through time and space, so they can get stuck in the past. And the reason why I just had, that podcast with Matthias, the reason why he was able to remember his past life was because he was able to feel the same feelings and emotions that he was having when that past life happened 12,000 years ago. And then he asked his guides, like, why do I have to feel it? Because he felt sadness and grief beyond anything he could have ever imagined. And they were like, because the information is in the emotions, which leads us to like the crazy change that's happening in 2027 with the solar plexus center and emotions in general. And the emotional intelligence that we're stepping into is fucking quantum, you guys. So I felt very strongly that I need to start offering the soul retrieval sessions. And so just to guide you through the actual soul retrieval session, and it is part of one of the things that we actually recommend, that one of the steps that we're going to teach you about in the mini course of how, that can help you do some of the deeper integration work. So that announcement is coming out on Saturday. So it's kind of cool though, because right now we are getting ready to start eclipse season. This new moon activates eclipse season and Virgo, right? And there's going to be an eclipse in Pisces and an eclipse in Virgo towards the end of the month. And they're going to be 0, 15, and 29. Like exactly in the beginning, exactly in the middle, and exactly at the end. And those 3 degrees are very critical degrees. So it's like a surgery that's going to be happening. So it is opportunity, right? Eclipse season is opportunity for deeper work and deeper change. And it's the reason why we're doing the mini course, why we're introducing this like 10 steps to basically like work through and embody and anchor and truly find like the release that you freaking are wanting. But it does come with like, you got to go deep, you got to dive deep, and you got to be willing to go in there. What we've been doing with Ashley in the Moon Goddess training is I've been guiding people through the journey, and then she's channeling messages from the Akashic. So it's like we both bring in a different aspects of that, Akashic record that you can really only get by diving into the Akashic records. So the offering that I'm going to offer this starting on Saturday is just going to be like the actual, just the soul retrieval journey. But it's a very potent thing, and I highly recommend it if you are like really wanting to go there. You got to go there. Like emotionally, you have to go there though. It's not just going to be like, oh, someone's going to like do it for you. I'll guide you to do it for yourself. And that's another thing that's been coming up very, very strongly lately, is that we have to do the work ourselves. Like no one else is going to be able to do this for us. Nobody can. They can help us like move through the energy, through the process of it, but they can't like fix it for us. We have to fix it ourselves. And that's a huge thing that I think a lot of people, they get stuck right there. But if you had someone who could guide you through those tough moments where you have to feel it and you have to like accept it and you have to like love it, then it might be the shift that you're looking for. So let me just check the chat real quick and say hi to everybody that's here. Hello, Mary. Welcome in. Hello, Linda. Shayna is here. Welcome. We've got Raessa, Steph, Robin, Sticks and Stones. Annie made it. Nice. Trina is here. Hello. Shala, welcome in. Valerie, hello. Yes, Trina says, I'm signed up for the mini course. Can't freaking wait. We can't wait either. Oh my God, that's so funny. So, my therapist recommended the human design the week I finally downloaded it. Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. And it's becoming more and more popular as well, specifically human design. Yes. Back in previous lives or in this life? This life, childhood. Back into childhood. The soul retrieval that I'm focusing on is, that's why I literally called it soul retrieval for the inner child, because it's this lifetime. And very important work that I feel a lot of people just don't really know how to do. Hello, is it Marsha, I'm trying to memorize your name, but Salty Mama, welcome in. I thought we felt lost because we can only carry part of our soul self energy. I'm not sure what you mean by that. We feel lost for many reasons though, like many, many reasons. But one of them is that there's like a feeling of being like broken or like fragmented and not whole. And so that is what I was referring to, that it makes you feel like I don't know who I am and I don't know where I'm going, because we don't have wholeness inside of us. We're like fragmented because we've had all these traumatic experiences, and traumatic experiences they don't even have to be like violent, physically violent. They can be emotionally very intense, and those sometimes stick more, than the actual violence. But either way, hello, Anita. Welcome in. The class sounds exciting. Yes, Valerie, make sure you sign up. We're so excited. We've been promoting in our social, so check that out. And okay, let's now dive into the actual charts. Let's start checking out this this chart. Let me actually do something real quick before we begin. Yeah, it's interesting because I've been wanting to definitely have something to be able to different than QHHT, because QHHT can also be powerful, but this is very specific. This soul retrieval from the inner child is very specific. But it's part of the bigger picture of what we're going to be talking about in our mini course. It's not the only thing. It's part of the recommended, steps to fully, integrating. Okay, so we're going to start right here. And this is basically what I wrote in my Seasons and Stargates book about this new moon in Virgo. I just want to go over the top part, and then at the end we'll come back and I'll read what I wrote about it. Channeled message. Hello, Jennifer. Okay. So this moon is happening August 22nd into 23rd, depending on where you are. There's no significant stargates, but there are some that have been sort of lurking around. The biggest one would be Regulus. The energy of Regulus is still hanging out, but nothing specific with like the energy of the sun and the moon. The chakra that this moon activates, it's the heart chakra. So we're talking about diving deep into heart space, and the heart is the place where we do deal with a lot of grief. The heart is also the place where we feel all these emotions that I'm talking about. So this is the journey that begins this eclipse season for us. So it's a big deal, and it is, it's really good that it's awakening in this space. It'll also finish in this space, because when we get to the new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st, that one's also going to be in the heart chakra and the integumentary system, which is the skin, which basically talks about how you have to learn to protect yourself. There's an aspect of boundaries, which is actually so interesting, because I've been taking the step astrology school right now, and we're learning about, step 0 and like what do the degrees mean. And this step 0, there's a lot about it being a boundary and setting a boundary. And so it makes sense that this Virgo energy does, hold space for that through the integumentary system, which is our skin, which is the largest organ in the body that protects our insides, basically, that creates the literal boundary between our insides and our outsides. And it also like works, like it interacts with the environment, which is what Virgo essentially represents. It's also on the 59th gene key and the 59th gate. So we will talk about both of those things. But now let's actually go to the chart. So the first thing you want to notice is, okay, where's the sun and the moon? Whenever they're together and in the exact same degree, they are going to be making a conjunction, therefore a new moon. This new moon is happening at 0 degrees, 23 minutes of Virgo, which again, I mentioned is a portal. Virgo is about precision. Virgo is about, being present, focusing on in the moment. This is an initiation for sure. And it's also an opportunity to reset. 0 is like the reset. So the intention that you set on this new moon is huge. It's going to be huge. Oh my God. Sorry. I've been watching too many videos about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And then right when I said it's going to be huge, in my mind I heard, it's going to be May. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. That's step number 1. Okay. Then you look at, okay, what major aspect? I mean, you can see there's kind of a lot going on here. But the main thing is, if you look at, if there's anything else either at 0, close to 0 degrees, and there is, and this is where the big stuff starts coming up. So let me switch to this. So there's a square, right, to Uranus. That's big. There's a quincunx way over here to Pluto. And there is another quincunx to over here, 0 and 1, Saturn and Neptune. And then Saturn and Neptune and Pluto, they are themselves making a sextile. And so those are like the main things. And we can just kind of sit here and talk about these for a second. So basically with a square to Uranus, it brings in unpredictability. Like Uranus is the planet of revolution and change. And he's like, you know what? Yes, we're going to get very precise and direct about this sort of soul surgery that we're going to have this eclipse season. This Virgo season is like a thing in itself. I don't even know what it's going to feel like on the other side, but all I know is that it is so significant that, I mean, personally, I feel like it's going to feel good because I feel like it's going to clear the energy. And because it's eclipse season, it's like healing past the past karmic things, karmic relationships, clearing like the places where we feel afraid to step forward and to take a leap of faith, and then take a leap of faith so that like we can take that leap of faith. So the square to Uranus is going to bring in like an unpredictable aspect to it, but I feel like an exciting one. The Gemini energy of Uranus is actually really positive. There's like change that awakens the mind. And so the mind space is getting this like reset too with a new energy with Uranus. And so this is like, yeah, this is a story that we're going to be in for like, you know, the next 8 years with Uranus. So it's important whenever there's specific connections. So this one is a powerful one. Then the next day the sun makes the exact square. So it's very strong. The square to Uranus, bringing unpredictable things, change, just got to go with the flow. Now this yod, this is a yod. I don't even know if I said that yet, but it's a freaking yod. And the yod is known as the finger of God. And the finger of God is a formation that basically is like, think of God like the puppeteer. And it's not faded in the sense of like, oh, you can't do anything about it. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's faded in the sense that like, just relax and let God take care of it. Like Jesus, take the wheel kind of a thing. Okay. Because he's got it. Right. So like he knows exactly where we're going. He knows exactly why. He knows how it's going to go down. And he's like, if you just let me steer, I'm going to take you through this journey. And it's going to be like even more magical and powerful than you could have ever imagined. The yod is made by a sextile between Pluto, the planet of death, change, and transformation, and Saturn and Neptune, which is intuition and determination. So, and these are 3 major outer planets, and they're all in those early degrees, like 0 and 1. It's like there's a newness. Can you feel the newness, you guys? By the way, can you feel the newness of the energy right now? Like I feel it. It's fresh. It's like, oh, ice cold water on a fucking hot ass day. It's like fresh. And it's like, it's exciting. There's an excitement in the air. And we're working into these deep, deep layers into the subconscious, changing things up. Like if you could ask for the deepest sort of shift that could happen during this kind of crazy season, it would be a yod. Like, thank you. Yes, a yod is exactly what we need so that we can surrender and let God take care of it. God is going to put you exactly at the right place at the right time. Your job to make it easier for the universe, your job is to be in alignment with your design. That means that you don't go against it. It means that if you have emotional authority, you're not making decisions in your head all the time. It means that if you have sacral authority, you're listening to your body's yeses and nos, right? It means that if you have mental authority, you're like letting things flow, not mental authority. No authority or no inner authority. If you're a mental projector is what I meant. You're like taking your time and watching things unfold and letting the magic happen by itself. So your job is to be in alignment with your design, which means what? You need to know your design. Hence why we're going to focus on teaching this, not specifically teaching astrology or human design or gene keys, but what is so important about knowing it and why you want to know it, because it's the key, right? And especially this season, it's like I said, it's a very powerful one. So that yod is freaking epic. Very, very powerful and positive aspect that is happening. So those I would say would be the most powerful. I do want to go here right now because one thing that I just want to take these out because I kind of feel like I've been absolutely loving focusing on the basic planets. There's just something about it, okay? And it also clears the energy and it's easier to read. So what are some of the other things that are going on here? Let me do that. And then let me grab this. Okay. So some of the other things are, there is within orb an opposition between Pluto and Venus. That is deep in terms of relationships. So Venus at 27 degrees of Cancer is very strong. She knows what she wants. She wants nurturing. She wants love. She wants intimacy. That's what we want right now. So we're going to do our best to create that and to hold space for that in our lives, which means that anything that doesn't fit or anything that is in the way or anything that triggers like the old us, the old version of us will come to the surface so that it can be worked through and cleared. So this would be like I feel like very shamanic, very like it's a triggering thing. It's a triggering aspect and opposition between Pluto and Venus, and it can be difficult, but I feel like it's necessary to heal crazy karmic wounds. The next thing that is important to look at is that there is a trine from Uranus to Pluto. And trines enhance the energy of positive change or positive shift. So these two planets, specifically because one is squaring the new moon and the other one is part of the yod, and then they're communicating with each other. It's like harmony. Like, oh, here, connect the dots. This is a spider web. You're not lost. Even if you can't see the big thing, because Virgo is about focus on the details. Even if you can't see the bigger picture, that's okay, because you can trust that the universe has your back to move through this energy. Okay, let's see what else is important to know about this. So the ruler, let's look at the ruler of this new moon. The ruler of this new moon is actually Chiron. Yes, Mercury But let's look at Chiron, because Chiron is the wounded healer. And he is at 26 degrees of Aries. He is here to teach us how to learn how to recognize who we are, be confident about who we are, be courageous in our own unique way, and take those leaps of faith like the fool. Just go, don't think about it. Know yourself and be courageous to friggin' launch. And he is also, believe it or not, within orb, also making a trine, but it's very loose. It's a very loose trine, but he is still within orb making a trine to the eclipse. So that's also important, right? And then the nodes, the reason why the nodes are important is because the eclipse season officially begins during this time, right? So we've got North Node at 18, South Node at 18, Virgo, Pisces, that's the polarity, that's the opposition. North Node is destiny, life path, like where we're supposed to be going. The arrow points towards Pisces, which is spirituality. And the South Node points towards, Virgo, but it's the past. And it's like, details. Don't forget that it's in the details. But you can't get lost in the details, but it's in the details. The answer to heal the past right now is in the details. And that's why I think these things like very specific, like soul retrieval or, shamanic journeys or Akashic, healing sessions and quantum QHHT, the precision that these things can offer, I think is really being supported by the energy of the South Node in Virgo. Like, okay, here's where we need to do the clearing. Here's where we need to create more space. And so we're being told we're going to reset the energy, 0 degrees of Virgo. Halfway through, we're going to activate like the true power. It's going to be a total lunar eclipse in Pisces, the full power of the North Node and our spirituality and our connection to God. So thank God that there's a Yod, the finger of God, happening now with this new moon. And then at the end, 29 degrees solar eclipse. That is like where... That's where it's like, it's a full completion. It's like nothing will get left unattended. Like nothing will get left unseen. So Virgo is the best energy to do this kind of work in because it's not going to miss the important details. So that is the main thing that we need to remember. And then we're going to look at where the nodes are in the human design, which I also think is significant because theme-wise, it tells us what we're going to be experiencing, what we're going to be feeling for not just this new moon, but the eclipses and all of Virgo season. So that is all of the aspects. Well, we do have Mars squaring Jupiter. That's another one. That's, I feel, an enhancement and a challenge to focus and do the work. To not get too stuck on what about this, what about that, but to actually get clear and start to take action. Like take action. So all of these things are very powerful, like magnifiers of the energy of this specific new moon. Okay. So now we're going to go over here because I want to look at this from the lens of human design. And you can see this is the chart of the new moon. And you can see that the planets are not making any channels together. They're not defining any channels together. So this means that you really have to know your own chart to see if any of these planets will complete channels for you or highlight certain places for you, certain gates for you. But the main thing that we can start to look at is down here, which is the 59th gate, because this is the gate where the eclipse is, I keep calling it eclipse because it kind of feels like it fits right into the energy, but it's not. This one is not technically an eclipse. This one is just a new moon, but it's the first new moon. There's going to be a second new moon in Virgo at the end of the month, and that one will be an eclipse. Either way, it's happening in the sacral center. So we've got sacral center energy here. I'm actually very curious. Give me 1 second, because it's good to look at this through the lens of human design in terms of the story. So we start in the sacral. The 63rd is in the head center. And the 46 is in the G center. So we go sacral to head to G. And that's the story of these three connected moons. So sacral, head, and G, which means sacral is life force energy. Then we go to the head, belief systems, the ability to make sense of life, understand life, process. Is the pressure to know why we're here, basically. And then we go to the G center, which is the center of identity. So then we end the journey with, now I know who I am. Oh my God, this is really fun to look at it like this. So 59th is actually the gate of sexuality. It's people who are driven by their genes to reproduce, whether that be children or creative endeavors. Do you realize that this is calling us to be creative? To use our life force energy to create? That's the first thing. Then when we get to the 63rd, right? The other one. And I'm going to find it here because I want to, again, this is special because we want to tell the story. We want to know the whole story as we're moving, to the energy. The 63rd is called the gate of doubt. People born with a natural skeptical minds. This is the gate of questioning, as well as the pressure of needing to answer. These people can be suspicious and distrustful until they have questioned the logic of something for themselves. It is the insatiable pressure of the doubt of this gate that drives all scientific thought. Such people can be the source of much that is useful in the world. However, if this doubt is turned inwards on oneself, it is deeply disturbing. So this is about, again, so it's in the head center, right? So I'm talking about the Pisces eclipse that's going to happen. It takes us to, okay, how do we clear the doubt? So we step into creativity. We allow our life force energy to open up. The life force energy is going to flow through us when we do what we love. But when we don't do what we love, it's not going to flow through us. And that's what this new moon is teaching us. Then when we're creating, that's when the magic happens. And then the 46 is where it ends. And also the 59 in terms of tribal circuitry. The 59 is tribal, which means it's connected to like your unit, your people, your group. It's close-knit, very close-knit, family, things like that. That's another theme that's like underlying the energy. When it gets to the 63rd, it's sensing circuit, or actually it's understanding circuit. So it's about trying to make sense of the world, trying to understand things. And then it ends in the sensing circuit, which is about trusting that you'll know in the end. You'll understand at the very end what it all meant. So it's fucking perfect, you guys. We're going to know, but we can't know right away. We have to go through the process, and then we'll know at the very end of Virgo season, like, what the hell was that all about? What did I learn? What was it that I needed to like fully integrate? So it's really, really cool to look at it in this way. But coming back to this 59th gate, and actually we can look at it through the lens of the gene keys, which in the gene keys, it goes from the shadow of dishonesty to the gift of intimacy and the city of transparency. Richard Rudd says the experience of being in love is the prelude to our future awareness. It doesn't generally remain because we haven't awakened enough for that frequency to stabilize. We carry too much wounding. As we transmute our wounds and experience our higher consciousness, these kinds of relationships become possible, even probable. That is crazy, you guys. Wow, I was just literally talking about all this. I'm telling you, it's like, it just comes naturally. It's part of the ring of union, which says the ultimate role of the ring of union is in the purification of our human relationships on our planet, containing the collective codes to bring the human family into realization of its state of higher union. These 4 gene keys have long governed human relationships, patterns, and their dysfunction on our planet. The combined dynamic of virtue with forgiveness, devotion, and transparency sets the stage for a completely new phenomenon to be seated in humanity: collective leadership. Wow. This codon ring is currently undergoing a great deal of spontaneous mutation. Thank you, Uranus. In our DNA. Thank you, Uranus. And is directly responsible for a huge shift in the way in which we humans relate, particularly through our sexuality and gender. So you can see it has to do with how we relate to each other, coming into union, purifying our relationships on the planet so that we can step into collective leadership. That's like, whoa, that's not just for you, it's for like the whole world. And that's the bigger theme. So then when we look at this chart and we ask ourselves, like, where's the north node and where is the south node? And those are going to be, north node right now is on the 22nd gate and the south node is on the 47th. And I believe that they will remain in these 2 gates for the whole month. So 22nd and 47th. We know the 22nd is a huge, powerful one. So essentially, if you have anything on the 22nd gate, the north node is really calling you to like awaken. The shadow of dishonor, the gift of graciousness, and the city of grace. Oh my God. What? And the nodes are so important because during eclipse season, they are the guides. They are like the gauge of what is being directed, how it's being directed, in which way. Graciousness isn't just politeness or courtesy, although it may contain both of these qualities. It's a whole cocktail of noble qualities. It's also very refined and often very subtle. It's an attitude carried in your aura. What? And it's rooted in a deep reverence for all life. And it has to do with like healing through suffering, you guys, for reals. It is described as grace under pressure. North node. And then south node. South node on 47. From oppression to transmutation to transfiguration. The bottom line is that our oppression, the particular nuances and flavors of our suffering and karma during this lifetime are exactly equivalent to the grayness of our inner light. Let me read that again. The nuances and flavors of our suffering and karma are exactly equivalent to the greatness of our light, inner light. What? Their purpose is to awaken that light. Dude, that means that the harder the lesson, the brighter, because they're oppositions. Transmuting the past. Oh my God. See, this is where it starts to get nuts when you look at the story instead of just like the one moon. This Virgo season is like, it's always like a unit, but this one is more than I've ever seen before in my life. Oh my goodness. So, north node in the solar plexus center, feel your way into the healing. It's okay to suffer as long as you know and understand that the purpose of suffering. And then south node in the ajna. Don't get lost in the mind, but make sense of the past. Transmute the past. Clear the past. I love this too. This is amazing. I know, it's really beautiful energy. Steve says these aspects are so abundant in Virgo season. This calibration is unfolding what we're made of. Yes. Yes, it is really powerful. So what I would like to do is read about this 59th city of transparency from the actual Gene Keys book, and it'll give us like the deeper intuitive understanding of like, what is this really about? And what is the reason why I like to read the city and not the shadow and the gift? Well, for one, it would take a really long time. But I choose the city. I was like, if I was going to do one, I choose the city because the city is the one that's like, what is the highest potential for this? How can we like transcend it all and get to the divine frequency, which is like, how do you surrender and let that yod do the work? Through being transparent is what the 59 city says. And you're not going to fucking believe what it says right here. The return of Quetzalcoatl. Like, excuse me? The final phase of the evolutionary impulse latent within the 59th gene key will probably not occur on our planet at a collective level for many thousands of years. Having said that, the nature of time itself will change so radically that the whole notion of things taking a long time will cease to have any real meaning for us. Wonderful. The mutation of the solar plexus essentially equates to the opening of our planetary heart center. As most of us know, time stands still when you're in love. I just got chills. Beyond this transformation, out of the shadow and into the gift, lies a further transformation in which genetic mutations will take place within the brain chemistry of the pineal and pituitary glands. Wow. This higher process will lead to the dawning of the age of... I'm just kidding. The dawning of the 59th city, the city of transparency. Transparency, as we understand the world today, is not even close to what it means at the citic level. Today, when we speak of being transparent, we mean being open and honest in our communication with others. The city of transparency actually involves the dispersion of all aspects of the self back into the sea of creation. In mythical terms, the 59th and the 55th gene keys represent the force of prime yang and prime yin, respectively. The 59th gift is the seed or the semen, and the 55th gift is the egg. When the frequency of this gene key reaches the Siddhic level, these kinds of symbols cease to have meaning since they no longer function through duality. The semen of the 59th gene key is spent, and the egg is no longer needed. What you have left, pause, side note, this speaks of conception, the moment of conception, which also has to do with our core wound in the Venus sequence, which has to do with healing at the deepest level. What is left is beyond description. Transparency is what remains when evolution becomes meaningless. At a genetic level, the 59th city cannot exist within the physical body because it is the driving force behind evolution. The state of transparency carries no agenda or purpose. It simply acts as the conduit of awareness. Thus, the only purpose of the 59th gene key is, here we go, to break down all barriers that stand in the way of union. That's literally what this new moon is doing. Are you ready? To break down all barriers that stand in the way of union. When this has happened, this aspect of our genetics will no longer be needed. The 59th gene key is the master key in the genetic codon group known as the Ring of Union. These four gene keys, the 4th, the 7th, the 29th, and the 59th, have long governed human relationship patterns and their dysfunction on our planet. Their ultimate role is to bring the human family into realization of its state of higher union. The sequence leading to transparency begins with the process of forgiveness, triggered by the 4th gene key. Once you have forgiven yourself, using your relationships as a mirror, you will discover your true aura of virtue, the 7th gene key. Once you have found your inner virtue, you begin to pour yourself out into others, recognizing the same divine source in every person you meet. It is this devotion, the 29th gene key, that is the true doorway to transparency. Devotion empties you out, bringing you into a purified, higher state of awareness, where you no longer relate to people or objects as other. Transparency brings everything inside your own being, eliminating the very concept of inside and outside. It is the greatest leveler within the whole sphere of life. In nature, the 59th gift is represented by the golden mean. What? In nature, the 59th gift is represented by the golden mean, a universal geometric form underlying all creation. However, if one tries to create a spiral, another word that's been coming up, out of the golden mean to represent the city in its entirety, one immediately meets a well-known mathematical I just created a word. Mathematical. A well-known mathematical impasse, because such a figure would have no beginning and no end. This is representative of the 59th city. It cannot appear in nature or be understood by mathematics. It simply does not appear to exist. Hence, its transparency. You can perhaps see why transparency taken to a collective level entails the disappearance of the form of our universe. When this does eventually occur, as it must, it is difficult to say what form humanity will take, if indeed it takes any form at all. If humanity were to take on some kind of future form, it would certainly no longer be an outgrowth of evolution as we understand the word. Neither would it have the need to reproduce itself, since its being would be eternal. In the times ahead, and even perhaps today, the 59th city is imminent. Beings will come into the world, manifesting the full power of the city. Just as mass consciousness will begin manifesting the 59th gift of intimacy as the norm, so a few will begin to manifest the most rarefied of vibrations. These will be people who have gone beyond all concepts and agendas. The ultimate agenda is evolution, the idea that there is still some scope for growth. Although the form of our world will continue to evolve, the consciousness out of which it emerges can never and has never evolved. Only awareness can evolve, and it's evolving very quickly through the transformations and mutations coming through this gift and city. However, when awareness has reached its ultimate expression, it becomes a clear mirror for consciousness. And this is what transparency is. Wait. A mirror for consciousness? What else do we know? Very present in our lives right now is a mirror for consciousness. What in the AF? It reflects life without any additional comments. It is a state we humans have always dreamed of attaining, the ability to look upon the world without judgment. There is an ancient Mayan prophecy that speaks of the return of Quetzalcoatl, a being symbolized by the feathered serpent. The ancient calendars have long connected this event to coincide with the year 2012, in which time, according to the Maya, will cease to exist. Such prophecies are perhaps best not taken literally, but seen as alchemical markers emerging from the collective unconscious. The journey of consciousness through the 59th gene key is symbolized aptly by the figure of Quetzalcoatl. The feathered serpent is the same as the symbol of the dragon. I cannot. It represents the harmonization of the lower nature, the serpent, with the higher nature, the bird. This is indeed the new epoch we are entering. Most scientists agree that our genes have a hidden agenda to survive, and that no matter what they do, they will find ways to mutate if their ongoing survival is threatened. Genes operate below our conscious awareness. You might even say that God is hidden within our genes. But until we raise our frequency, we cannot experience God. We therefore must learn how to be transparent, both with ourselves and in interactions with others. Our first step is to let our barriers down and look deeply into our fears. Another thing this new moon is doing. Even our deepest genetic fears, such as the fear of losing our loved ones, act as subtle barriers that keep us from realizing that our genes are not exclusive but inclusive. Every man and woman in our genetic brother and sister is our genetic brother and sister, and no single individual, family, tribe, or nation is an island. We are all one genetic tribe moving through a huge and transformative period in history, the end result of which will be the realization of our unity. Well, Quetzalcoatl, you say, huh? Amazing. Fuck yeah. That is the initiation of our journey through Virgo season and eclipses. And so now we shall end with this. My channeled message found in my book, Seasons and Stargates, which is available for purchase. We arrive at the 0 point of Virgo, gazing into the portal. Infinite possibilities abound. The story begins with a single step, and Virgo season will guide us through the rest. The finger of God is reaching down with a very important lesson we are here to learn. Today, we activate eclipse season, and there is no doubt in our mind of which path we are going to take. Our soul yearns for answers, but we have to wait and see, lest we get caught up in the details and miss our chance to truly see. This is not a time to be dishonest with ourselves or others. It is a time bursting with intention to find closeness, tribe, companionship, intimacy. But we cannot get there from a judgmental mind or a critical mind that refuses to see the beauty all around. As we step into the light of nothingness, we feel the cleansing and purifying energies of God moving through us. We may not know exactly how things will evolve, but one thing is for sure, we are ready, and we can surrender and trust that we are being guided in the perfect direction. Let go of anything that keeps you in a negative state of mind. Let go of any thought patterns that hold you in a limited point of view. Open your mind. Open your heart. And the ultimate clarity will come. This is just the beginning. The story begins with a single step into the unknown. Boom. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're ready for. So I am, like I said, very excited. Crazy things are happening. I'm literally just going with the flow, letting the energy take me to exactly where it needs to be. But I will tell you one thing, that right now, this like surgical surgery that we're about to go to requires you to, yes, focus on the deeper layers and the deeper details of what is holding you back in life. And to fucking be like, we're done with that. We're done with that. We're done with that. Do not keep going back and thinking the same shit. And if you do, don't get mad at yourself. Just feel it, express it, get it out, and move on. And then keep moving forward. Remember, the intentions that you set for this new moon are going to carry themselves through the entire 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Yeehaw. 0, 15, 29. Sacral head G center. Life force energy activates. We begin to understand that we may not have all the answers, and that if we surrender to the questions, we'll get more answers than we could even think was possible. And then we will know where we stand. We will know who we are at the end of this Virgo season. So, if you're not in the Starseed membership, you might want to join, because we are going to travel together through all the crazy aspects and transits. We have actually our Virgo season meeting and workshop this weekend, where we're going to talk about this in more detail and also look at where is this happening in our chart, because wherever the sun is passing and the moon is going to be, those are going to be big themes for you this month. So 0, 15, and 29 of Virgo, where are those degrees in your chart? Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I will see you all tomorrow for our new moon ceremony. Again, join us for the free 4-week mini course that starts September 2nd. Sacred Coordinates, the map. The link is below. Satnam, you guys, and see you soon.